Well, hello, everybody. How are y'all doing? So good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Listen, I know you can be a lot of different places, and hey, it's just beautiful to have you here, and I get to hang out with y'all, albeit virtually, right? Well, I'm not virtual. I'm actual. Hmm. Well, we're actually having an encounter. So, favor be unto you all. May there be nothing missing, nothing broken in your life. May favor all the time manifest. I mean, I keep count of it. Things that happen that I realize favor intervened there because it could have been a lot worse. So, how y'all been? It's been about a week since I was here. Had things to do and had some things to attend to yesterday and out and mixing in the real world, as they would say, because holy crap, if this is the real world, ay, 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 that's all I got to say. So, hello, chat room. What's up? Hey, Susie Q and Deborah and Clever Gypsy, much love to you. Brenda, hello. Grace, good to see you. Mary, Deborah, Elderberry, Stephen, what's up? Rabbit Hole Diver, I love that. Lori, Robert V, what's up, my friend? Beautiful Nina, how are you, my dear? So good to see you. Jackie, what's up? Jackie Blue, I was thinking that. Ozark Mountain there, yeah. Ooh, Jackie Blue. Anyway, Cecilia, how are you doing, darling? I love that. Yeah, I always correlate a song to a name. You'll never forget anything. Go, how are you, my friend? All the way from Croatia. Jenny, good to see you, sweet. I just got your email, so how about if you want to come on tomorrow? Got some things we could come lost in space, so if you want to, Jenny, just let me know, darling, and we'll make it happen. Colleen, good to see you, my dear. Peg, what's up? Good to see you. And Cindy, I saw in there, and y'all are just beautiful. I don't know. That's just my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. So, anyway, beautiful day here. I mean, summer is now, quote unquote, officially over. Yeah, but still, the equinox is still 2 weeks away, right? Something like that. So hey, Peter, what's up? No bull truth. I love that. Have a wonderful chicken salad. That sounds delicious. Can I have some of that? Gee, that sounds pretty good. But anyway, uh, just there's just so much happening out there. I mean, the title of this program today is, what are you afraid of? And we're all afraid of something. I know we don't live in fear, but the unknown. So used to teach sales psychology, and we would put on weekend seminars. And we did a lot of role playing and interacting. One of the things that I would do is get the group and you blindfold everybody. And then everyone sits in the middle of the classroom. Many times that's where these are in the conference room or et cetera, wherever, we were holding the training seminar. And because top elite salespeople are fearless, at least on the outside. Many times they're extremely insecure, but they've built so many walls that, even they are not quite cognitive of it. They're aware of it because their personality, but I digress. So what I did is that everyone gets blindfolded and you make sure that no one can see and you put everyone in a circle. Now, what you do is that you pair them off, where you have teams and you can't talk, but you can sense of where the other person is. And it's interesting because you get people to where they become where they can't see, they become very uncertain, and it draws out many times the thing that sometimes is hindering you from being able to close that, 6-7 figure deal. So everybody's afraid of something, right? I'll tell you what I'm afraid of. How about we start out with that? There's actually a lot of things I could say I'm concerned about, because it could really become a really bad situation. But as all of you know, this is what I am most concerned with as I come back over here. Hi, how y'all doing? Good to see you. Little time travel here. So this is really my biggest fear. This. We have reached the we've gone past the red line. And the consequences of all of this crumbling, well, it's fearful. Because reality says we're never going to pay back this debt. Now, we owe a lot of this debt to ourselves, but we also owe it to a lot of countries that really don't have our best interest. What can I say? There's one individual, I don't have any problem saying it, George Soros, has made his billions on betting on the collapse of countries' currencies. And the odd makers are saying he's been betting against us all the time. Talk about having the house advantage. Yeah. But this is what I'm afraid of this. Why am I afraid of this? Well, because this has consequences that could impact all of our life. Well, let me just say, it will and is having dramatically impacting all of our realities. And the numbers, as I'm just sitting here talking, have been astronomical. I mean, you look at this, and I've been talking, and we've already did almost, about $1 million there. Boy, talk about the golden touch, right? But this is what truly, all kidding aside, concerns me immensely. And here in the United States, we have a government that is spending money recklessly, with no accountability. And at some point in time, when you look at this debt, $102 trillion, and if it's in the red, then it's bad. Like green is good, red is bad in this situation. And when you look at that U.S. unfunded liabilities, that's basically what that means. That's like a signature loan. The problem with those type of deals is that someone ain't going to be happy. And then if you look at that number, that's almost $200 trillion. I think we got the tanks moving in. Jeez. But yeah, 193 trillion. Did I say that right? Trillion. 593 million. Billion, 628. I can't say it fast enough and forget trying to get down there. That's just, folks, for a nation, we're screwed. We're just screwed. And I think the government knows it. And if you're betting against the United States on its currency, well, this is a sure home. This is a grand slam. So, yeah, people don't find this interesting, because it isn't spooky or it isn't, this or that, but this is reality. This is hardcore reality. I mean, if the system collapses, We in America don't have any idea. I'll stop the share on that. The fact is, we're generations from ever remembering the events of the Depression. It's interesting. The other, as I go over here, give me 1 second, please, man. Here I am. Hi, how y'all doing? Good to see you again. That's all right. I'm driving the bus. I know where we are. It's cool. But the movie Grapes of Wrath, wow. I mean, that movie, wow. I mean, it really told it like it was. People we're seeing it today. We're seeing, some could argue, we're seeing society itself degrade. So people say, well, you face your fears. I get it. But listen, we can be honest here. That's a scary scenario. When people can't work, when people can't spend money, can't have access to money, when people are, where the very system they depend on collapses, well, you get people, that begin to panic. Yeah. Crazy stuff, isn't it? That's why, it's so, how should we say, meditative to be out in nature, just to stop, watch a hummingbird fly. Do you know that they actually land? Yeah. But sometimes the very stillness, and it for me, it provides a sense of serenity of being, in this enclave, this secluded place that, I always call us the remnant. Free thinkers. Got the t-shirt in. So tomorrow I'm going to be wearing the Naked Philosopher shirt. So, we bear everything. We do. So we're living in some messed up times, and I saw it in full display, over the last week. And I left a link because there are some things that they're trying to condition us. And it's so blatant that, it's ridiculous. I wonder where the adults are, because they're not running the government. That's for sure. You got to call it for what it is. Either they know something or everybody has gone insane. That's a scary scenario. Living in a world. Saw a movie over the weekend, and it was really a very interesting movie. It was called Hypnotized. And trying to think of the lead character. Boy, isn't that bad when you can't even remember. But the premise of the movie was, we're all hypnotized. Every one of us. Even if we are cognitively aware of it consciously, it does no good. And the way that it's been done was done initially in religious ceremonies. People would come together in groups, and you would have an individual that either could enchant, chant, or have a way in which they could literally hypnotize the congregants. And the premise went on to say this: if we're in the medium, if we're in the matrix, if we're in this simulation, we're all hypnotized. And no matter, again, how much you want to fight it, no matter how much you want to argue with it, no matter how much you want to disagree with it, doesn't matter. You're in a simulation that is someone else's idea. You see, that's why it's so important for us to comply. Because if you comply, you're pliable. The energy that's siphoned off of you because you're not really what we would call a free agent. You're compromised. But the premise of the movie was that, there are certain, I don't know if they're sapiens or humans, I don't know, but they have this ability, because they're more advanced than we are in their capacity of understanding the human brain in all its components, that they're master hypnotizers. Now, one of the things I found interesting in studying this, and I've done shows on this, but in 2008 in Denver, Colorado, I watched one Barack Obama cast a spell. It was either a spell or a mass hypnosis on the nearly, I forget how many, I think there was over 100,000 people there in Mile High Stadium. And if you go back and look at those videos of that event, that was a coronation. I mean, the whole event was set up as though it was Mount Olympus. And I watched, and I was with a group of people, and I told them, I said, look at what's happening to the crowd. And you could see it in their eyes. They all of a sudden had this, you could say it was like this glazed look. And I said, there's something more going on here. So again, the whole premise is that they can hypnotize us. You see people that suddenly freak out for no reason. Many times it was because there was a signal given right prior to that. Hey, Shirley, how are you doing? Eric, everybody else, Rock of God. The Mark of the Beast started December 14th, 2020. I don't know. And everybody has a right to believe what they want. I don't believe in that paradigm. I used to, but again, that begs the question. If prophecy is true, then time travel has been proven. And if so, then there is great manipulation, because it means that there has already been a predetermined completion before there was ever a beginning. In fact, isn't that one of the scriptures in the book of Isaiah? Doesn't Yahweh say, I told you the end from the beginning? He knew the ending from the beginning. Again, from a philosopher's point of view, I have to pontificate on the fact, then, if you're telling me that there is a being that is all-knowing, then that being has become insane. There's no purpose for living. There's no purpose for existence. If you know the future, if you know everything, regardless of how many different trillions of potential quadrillions of potential anomalies happen, that would drive you crazy. Anyway, I digress. Love you. And that's what you, hey, boots on the ground. Claudette, how are you doing? Good to see you. Fear. It's what is the manipulation. Fear is the manipulation of every religion. All religion is predicated on fear. It's funny, I was listening to a conservative radio where I was at, and the individual was, obviously very Christian in God and country. And I'm thinking, okay, that's cool. But, and he said, and they were commenting on, this fear thing. And he said, well, you can't be afraid. You just can't be afraid. And then right next, and the next thing he said, and the fear of the Lord, is where we need to get. And I went, the person I was with stopped and said, did he just say what I think? And I said, yeah, he did. He didn't even hear it. That fear factor, fear the government, fear the religion, fear God. You can't fear God if you believe in that construct. I happen to think that there are gods, but it ain't the uno numero supremo. No. Mm-mm. I don't think we know that. Don't think so. I'm rereading one of my favorite authors, F. Paul Wilson, and I have a collector's edition of Night World. And I have told y'all this for a long time, that if you really want to get into a good book, go out and get Night World. I don't know. I don't think I have it on PDF, but it's well worth it. It's a great read. And there was a time before man. And this time before man, even man was before in its thought. There was something here that he calls it the other. And it influenced this realm. It didn't possess it, because it doesn't possess anything. But yet, wherever the other is, there is a saturation of it. Now, it's opposed by others of its kind. But for man, we have forgotten. So, anyway, if you read the book, it's a great read. I'm telling you, it's one that you won't put it down. You'll absolutely read it, and you go, yeah. The next thing you know. The book is, I don't know what that, they must be talking on a different, but anyway. Yes, Aaron. Yes. Rakosh, yes. So are you a fan of Repairman Jack? I tell you, I don't know why they haven't made movies of F. Paul Wilson. They did, and well, in fact, I have to go back. They did The Keep in the World War II setting, but most people thought it was a movie about World War II. But it was interesting. So I love Repairman Jack. I often thought Tom Cruise would make a really good Repairman Jack. And ladies, if you ever read, Rock of God, we appreciate that. But brother, this is not a place for you to be, pandering. Everyone here in this room, my friend, and I speak to you one-on-one, is well aware of the Christ, very aware of it. They're very much aware of your Bible and of your God. And to come in and to start this, I don't like this. So I'm telling you, back off, dude. You're in here violating my space. I don't go into your channel and start spouting off a belief or a dogma, imposing my belief on another. That is rude. It just is. And so to really, truly respect your fellow person is to respect their sovereign right to believe in whatever they want to believe. And they don't need you in here with your pandering of a belief system. I'm just telling you with love, it's not cool. Now, if you'd like to come in and be a part of the discussion without the religious connotations, you're welcome here. But it's not cool for you to come in and start using this as an evangelistic tool. It's not cool. All right. So, and we just, just tell it like it is. We love everybody. You're entitled to whatever your belief is. But, listen, we've got Luciferians that watch us. We've got Wicca witches. We've got a lot of different sundry beliefs. And you don't see them coming in there spouting off their books or their sacred scriptures. They're respectful. That's the problem with that Abrahamic belief system. It's not respectful of other beliefs. It just isn't. And now, moving on. Hey, Gilbert, how are you? No, Rock of God. No. You see, we're philosophers here. We're really good people. And, however you want to believe, we say right arm, go for it. But just respect the fact that there may be others who don't believe that way, and they can love you and admire you and interact. But at the same time, you see, I'll just be one-on-one with you, Rock of God, is that, you see, you can't show me in the Bible where Lucifer ever harmed or ever commanded another human to kill another human. $1,000 if you can prove me wrong. I'm no fool. I wouldn't make a bet like that if I can't back it up. It's not in there. But yet your God, Yahweh, Jehovah, which can't be the Father because you're mixing two different theologies, yet that God commanded Joshua and the children of Israel to do what to the Hittites? The Mennonites? I mean, you go right down the line. It was a bloody slaughter. Murder is murder. It's not cool. And you can't be a God and say, well, thou shalt not kill, but yet command your followers to kill. So, hey, Gaia, what's up, darling? Lucifer is a tempter and a liar. He don't have any to buy soul. Man gives him a... But you see, sir, that's where you're deceived. Because Lucifer is a made-up name. And how foolish that you would actually assign a personification of an entity to a name that was made up. Jerome made that up. In his very notes, he altered that whole book of Isaiah. It has no basis in reality. But yet in your belief system, it has this whole hierarchy. Let me say, that's cool. But if you want to come and debate, you might want to read up a little bit. That's all I got to say. So, and again, moderators, it's time for Rock of God to be put in timeout. I asked you once politely, respectively, not to be coming in here and using this as a platform for your evangelism. It's rude. That's 2 strikes. I don't dig that. It's very disrespectful. Grace, that's true. We are one loving family. But sometimes you got to be put in time out. And I admire the passion, the zeal. I was there one time. Hey, speaking of which, okay, who wants to go back? Get this. I was inspired to look over. I have them now approaching well over. It's either at 5,000 or it's gone over 5,000. 5,000 hours. We're going to go in a little bit of down memory lane. So, how many of you remember? I don't know how many of you were even subscribers then. You didn't have that many. Well, this is in I did this video in 2016. And so here I am, and I'm going through this, and I went, wow. I actually posted it to my YouTube channel back. It was in December 23rd, I think. And I was getting these downloads. And anyway, so how many remember this a little adventure? I'm not going to get into the narration of it all, but because you can go into the archives and see it. But this is the known universe, right? They tell us that this is the known universe. I don't know if it is or it isn't, but they say it is. Well, so this can't be infinity. This is finite in its construct. And then the question is this God? I mean, God can't be a personality or a being, or could it be? But, maybe we're seeing the brain of God. I don't know. And then it comes into seeing, well, what is the truth? And as I pointed out back then, there's two stories being told here. You see, I believe we're in the time of the deceiver that came in and said that basically, he was a he didn't like women. Okay, I guess maybe he was the first gay god. I don't know. But anyway, because we're told a different history. And as you remember, the stories, as I brought them through here, was that this is the tale of the fall. But these ancient works of art, and this is what they are, they're not, in the respect of an educational environment of looking at mythology and legend. But look at who the serpent is. Now, this is what's made this very weird, because if you look at these interpretations, the serpent was bipedal. And this knowledge has been lost. Today, modern Christendom does not teach this. It's completely morphed into Satan, Lucifer, which is bullshit. No foundation of that at all. But the story of when we were coming out of the first dark age, I contend we have entered into the second dark age. Technology has actually not enlightened man, it has regressed man. But if you look at these ancient teachings of these drawings of who these creatures were, who humans were, you can find that there is a disconnect between all of us in how the perception of what was this reptile? Who was this serpent? What was the serpent? Was it really this story that's being told today that the serpent was evil, that the serpent was the one who corrupted? It not, and the alternative of that story is no. The serpent has always loved us. We actually came from the serpent beings. And it is throughout all of the ancient teachings. The serpent was mankind's ally. It was overpowered. And we know in so many of these stories that what we were told was that there is this white dude apparently doesn't know what a brush is, doesn't know what a comb, and, can't figure out what a razor is. But anyway, comes into the situation and says, now, wait a minute. I'm the one that started all this. But yet, if you get outside of the Abrahamic, patriarchal, monotheistic belief system, you find that there is something about the serpent. The serpent is in every culture, and predates the Bible, predates any Jewish, any Hebrew, any child, any Abraham, predates the Sumerians, every culture. Doesn't matter from where it is. And the serpent has always been associated with wisdom, healing, benevolency. And this is what part of the bloodline invaders were. My contention is that our bloodline has been contaminated, but not by what we think. This goddess, who is the true creator of things, because you see, there isn't a white male dude that is consistent in the timelines, just not. However, the serpent is. So as I did on this one, what God, and I can't get it because this is over 400 slides, but if you look at this, there is a story that's being told that we were not reptilian, but we were simian. I recently saw this on a government form, and it was funny. I think it was a form for, if you were applying housing for Section 8. And in the form, it had a box, and it said that you would not rent out to a non-human simian. I told my wife, I said, so am I to take that it's implying that there are human simians? You see a divergent branch, it's bifurcated. Yet we've got more of the reptilian gene in us than we do actually of a simian gene. Because it is well understood that the first race of beings were serpent beings. They walked the planet. They were bipedal. Man, in his early forms of many different genesis. Here, this is where Christianity perverted the original story. There was never a dude on the cross. It was the serpent. And again, the clues, my Christian friends, if you can accept this, why was it that Moses was told by Yahweh, Jehovah, the Elohim, in the desert, when the serpents were killing the children of Israel, he was to raise a serpent on a stick? Why is the cauticus used in our medical and in medicine? It represents healing, wisdom. Not that, but that. See, the cross is a symbol of death. There's no victory in this symbol. It's a religious symbol, but it's a symbol of death. Whereas if you look at the cross on the left, it's the cross of life. Hey, I didn't write the story. I'm just telling the narrative. And no matter where we go, the archaeologists, the paleontologists, and all of the sciences, the disturbing reality faces us. We are not who we think we are. The serpent, early Sumerian, the serpent. I believe this is Irish, the serpent. The serpent. Here is an interesting one because it shows a simian in the interaction with serpents. Here is the reptilian goddess giving comfort to what? A simian. Bet you missed that one at the museum, didn't you? Again, the reptilian comforting the simian. The early pagans knew this, were well aware of it. But you see, it went counter because you got to have an antithesis. You can't have a Jesus without the antithesis of the serpent, right? Satan, Lucifer. Hard to imagine 8 years ago, have we journeyed again? The story in counter to this is that the serpent with the tree of good and evil, the tree of knowledge, was of the same tree that their species, Yahweh, the Elohim, how they learned, how knowledge was gifted into them, into their DNA. But the true story here is that the serpent was giving to mankind a gift. And that's what pissed off the other dudes. Again, one of the oldest artifacts. What did they know? Everywhere, every culture. And when they engrave it in stone, it's a big deal, you know? Hey, do you think that dude's the one they know that wrote the 10 letters, that you think that that was original? Because in all the mythology of what today that people consider, Christianity, is that it is such a bigoted religion in the fact that it completely ignores the rich history that predates its concept by tens of thousands of years. The serpent, wisdom, power, healing. The reptilians, the geneticists, the Moans, the Irish, everywhere. This is the creator. According to ancient African beliefs, the creator is the serpent. This is interesting. When think about this, it's almost a decades old, and I went through it, and it's remarkable work. Everywhere and in every culture, all pigments of different kinds. Wisdom. Always. Healing. And again, so many different cultures, as I did in the original of this, and it was several hours of programming on this. But it's very clear that, particularly when we get the works that they have discovered that are over 100,000 years old. These are early humans giving homage, worship to the serpent. Everywhere. I had so much fun putting this together, but as I went back, and you can look at the early coins. So this is, as I understand it, a Greek coin that truly depicted what really took place. The one that you see with the dude was later than the one at the bottom. The bottom was the earliest version, and that was the serpent was on the cross. And here you have it very close. I mean, there is a story here. Some say that this is some sort of an energy weapon powered by the serpent. I mean, I'm not sure what the Egyptians were doing. I've read a lot of different interpretations, but I'm going, again, this is God, the serpent, creating us. This is Enlil, tethered and imprisoned Enki in an energy field because he gave Tiamat, the first Eve, and the Adamu self-awareness and reproduction. Eve, conscious before Adam has adorned her belly and genitals, proud of her source of pleasure. She stares at her Enki, her dad, in tethers. Well, hell, Steiger, that ain't the story that's out there. Where the hell are you getting this crap at? Again, let's see. John Lash, Jehovah is the Lord Archon, a reptilian type of alien predator, an extraterrestrial being whose realm is the planetary system independent of the Earth, Sun, and Moon. He is not the advanced being, i.e. more evolved than humans, but a demented alien with certain superhuman or what we would call deific powers. Gnostics taught that Jehovah infects humanity with the belief that he is their creator God, but in fact, he cannot create anything. Hypnotized. Weird. Again, we've talked this about the Vatican. And come on. I remember I did this. I was like, come on. Again, this is the Luciferian prayer. Those of you who speak Latin, you're more than welcome to speak it out. But translated, it says, "Its flame of light, O Lucifer, the morning come, and I say, O Lucifer, who does not know the going down thereof, Christ, thy son, who, returning from the grave, human race shed his peaceful light, and now lives and reigns forever end. Amen Ra." And then I went in through, the complete chronological history. Go back and check us out. I mean, because I said we don't have time, but I just coming through here is a remarkable piece of work. Talking about the Brotherhood of the Serpent. This is one of the oldest, long-lived, devoted group. I mean, and you find out, for instance, right here in 4 BCE, supposed date of the birth of Christ. This date is also the date of Apollonius of Tyre. This is where the Jesus story was hijacked. The true Christ went to India to learn from the Naga king serpents and was taught in the temple of Aesculapius, the serpent of healing. Uh-oh, Steiger. Man, you can't be talking this kind of stuff. And not that the fact that there were 2 Eves, that just gets, all kind of funky weird. And then the Catechus, I mean, good, bad. How can something that be bad that does good be bad? I mean, my wife wears one of these pins. All of you who are nurses and those of you who are doctors, you're actually healers. As Lynn has now come to realize, she's been a healer from her beginning. As I told her, I said, no matter what realm, no matter what comes after this, you're always going to be a healer, love. But so how's this bad? Healing wisdom. Again, By the way, this is said to be the only true picture of Jehovah, Yahweh. But again, the serpents on the side, they're carrying souls to heaven. This is just very strange. I mean, so Baphomet, the ones that, those who are the modern day Satanists worship. And by the way, I've never found Lucifer ever asked worship because he doesn't exist, much less a Satan. But anyway, I mean, there's some weird stuff going on here. We've talked about this. I mean, So as you can see, no foundation of any reality of Satan, none. But boy, the reptilians, the dragons, yeah, there's something going on down there. Yeah, something is, and that's how it went on. The Eskimo, if I did not know about God and sin, would I go to hell? Priest said, no, not if you did not know. And the Eskimo says, then why the hell did you tell me? Son of a bitch. Gandhi, I think he's right. God has no religion. Every time they get to me on the religion, I just shake my head and go, sure, okay. I already talked about this, Anyway, I'm doing this very quickly. Again, who's God? Hebrew, Christian? Can't be both. You see, the problem is when you study into this, when you get up against that wall going, but wait a minute, the Hebrew God never called itself Father, there's no connotation of that at all. But then you get into the New Testament, and now they're saying, hey, this is our God, and he is now known as the Father. Who the hell's the Father? Where did he come from? And if you have a father, you got to have a mama. Now, where the hell is mama? Anyway, this went on into some really deep stuff because we began to find out that maybe there really are aliens in the Vatican. Maybe, in fact, the Vatican is run by aliens, because it certainly seems that there are those creatures that, how can we say these wars? I mean, there's just some weird stuff, folks. The aliens, they always been here. They travel in ships. I mean, I often shake my head and I go, didn't you read the Bible? I guess y'all just skipped the book of Ezekiel, right? Don't know. Crazy, crazy stuff. And this one. Now, supposedly, it said that this is the Christ hair blowing. I don't remember there was any wind, right? But I know that looks familiar. Anyway, it's all over the religion. I mean, it's everywhere. Stuff that you read. And this is why today I look back almost 9 years now. I am so grateful for this journey, and thank all of you. I mean, I look forward to another 8-9 years. But how we've grown. We delved into the story. We dug deep, looking at the symbols, beginning to find that which is right there in front of us that no one talks about, no one wants to think about. Well, why? Because it changes the narrative. Because you got to have a bad guy. Well, there's stuff everywhere. I mean, it's the dragons, it's seduction, it's sex, it's egotism. I mean, it's all of this stuff. And it's like they knew. And then we go through this whole period of like, well, why did they get some of these and they make these mistakes? And I said, that was the end of part one. Part two gets into much more of this whole fact about the Satan, small s, the fact that Lucifer never did exist, but something else does. So anyway, it was fun putting this together. If you get a chance, go check it out, because it's one that will lead you with more questions than answers. Yeah. The Serpent, Satan, and the Vatican. Vedis, the diviner, can is serpent. Vatican, divining serpent. Oh, Steiger, they ain't gonna like you. They ain't gonna like you. But here it is. It's crazy. Yeah, anyway. I look at this and I just marvel, because it was, again, and that was we only covered very quickly, like 190 slides in that. But anyway, and I look at us now. I mean, yeah, I can say this. I've either, grown, or some people say even more, on the other side. But the problem is, monkey experiment, thank you. Anyway, I don't know how many of you have been here since there. I know some of you were, but so I look at this world today and I go, something ain't right. And that's the problem. Aaron says the biblical stories were the lost mostly till a king found one and they went full Yahweh to protect their. I have, doesn't surprise me at all. Boots on the ground, thank you. Mary, I love you, darling. Snake Jones, exactly. The Kundalini King there. I love that, But this group, I mean, we grew up on this. You think about it, 8 years ago. Wow. I just kind of went, 8 years, where to go? But, and the whole series, by the time I finished the Bloodline, I'm writing the book now, well into it. And, if you were to, if my life was like on the line and I had to make, exactly what is it that you believe and think, and I'd have to say, well, the serpent is not the bad one, and the story isn't what we were told. I don't know what is the story, but I know it isn't the one we were told. I saw where they got the material from. I saw how they inverted it. That's the problem. Someone wrote me and said, Jesus would receive you back. No, he wouldn't. No, because the problem is folks like Mike, us, we're the virus. We literally are. I mean, you inject us into a group like that, they ain't going to stay that way very long. We would be very anti to whatever they are. We love them. People keep calling me Chat GDP. Aaron, I don't know anything about that. F Kitty, I think religion itself places a distance between spirit and us, so we don't have to face it or do the inner work. Made it easy. Christianity allows all. Yes, thank you. Beautiful. Who is that? I have to get that back. Claudette, that is true, my dear. You have been here right from the beginning. I remember the early days. Much love to you, darling. So anyway, you bunch of enlightened people. That's why, you don't buy the story. And that's why why they don't like us. It's like, oh crap, here they come, like, geez, Don't confuse me with the facts, right? It's like, no. All right, everybody, I'll be here tomorrow. And we're continuing on whatever this is. We're in very interesting times, and they're getting faster and faster. And I think that the main act is about ready to get main stage. So, yeah, as Mary says, speaking favor over everybody. Nothing missing, nothing broken, right? And make sure to tune in to Nina's show, the Hump Day show. So right over there. And F. Kitty, you're welcome. And Eric, thank you. Snake Jones says, I control my own narrative. In the end, really, I mean, you will. You are. You'll have to. You know, could you imagine you got the big moment and they go, now, and you're going, all right. Much love, everybody. See y'all on Thursday. Seems like I just